Yeah, Brendon Neal. I'm the CEO of Keeper Financial Services.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about Keeper Financial Services, Brendon?
Yeah, Keeper's a dealer group in the New Zealand market, so made largely up of risk riders, with a handful of mortgage brokers in there. There's about 420 members, so it makes us one of the largest of the dealer groups.
Okay, so how long have you worked with Keeper?
Just under 12 months at this point. I started late June last year, so I must be very close to the 12-month anniversary at this point.
Congratulations.
Yeah, made it. Yeah.
How long have you been in the industry?
I think 22 years. And last I cut it, I would have been 19 when I started at Guardian Assurance as a sort of a new business clerk. Yeah, but with the odd break in between, so I don't think it was a full run at. There was a couple of interruptions in there.
Okay, that's fine. So interruptions to one side, it's been Guardian. Who else have you worked with?
Guardian into American International, so AIA, became an underwriter there, and eventually I was their chief underwriter for a little while, and then I always joked that I was too attention deficit to stay doing that for too long, so I got into sales. And then ING, about 2008, I think I joined ING, and that sort of got me off into the ANZ business for several years. I ended up on the leadership team of ANZ Wealth for the sort of later part of my career. Then, a bit of a career break, so hence that sort of breakup of the 22, or midlife crisis, depending on how you want to look at it.
Good enough, Brendon. So you've really been working for or with advisors for those 22 years?
That's right, yep.
So what brought you into the industry in the first place, do you think?
Complete accident.
Tell us about that.
University dropout, bought the motorbike with a student loan. I was chatting yesterday about that, right? And Mum said get a job properly, and a couple of my friends had been given sort of clerk jobs at Guardian, which were entry-level, new business, admin, put policy documents together kind of thing. And within a few months of doing that, someone said train as an underwriter, which I had no idea what that was at all.
All right, so like many advisors who fell into advising, you as someone that works within the other elements of the sector, you fell into the industry as well.
Yeah, entirely by accident.
All right, let's go back to that motorbike just for a little bit. What was it?
Yeah, TZR 250. Yeah,
TZR 250.
Two-stroke thing that was spitting blue smoke and needed some work on it. And it didn't last too long, to be fair. I think I broke the accelerator cable at one point and couldn't afford to fix it. That probably motivated getting the job. Yeah.
Okay, so was that your first vehicle, or did you have a car before then?
It was actually, yeah. Other than driving around mum and dad's cars, it was my first vehicle.
Okay,
yeah.
And so what else was happening with your youth? You a good schoolboy, were you, Brendon?
Yeah, I was Westlake Boys. It was where I went to high school, played a fair bit of rugby and things, and then injuries and that took over eventually there. And just sort of went off to university off the back of there with no real plan at all. So the happy accident into financial services taking me all around the world, as it turns out. It's been
brilliant.
Great.
So tell us about the rugby a little bit.
Look, I played first 15 my last year at Westlake. So I came up through the grades pretty much, played some under 19s and then restricted grade when I was still small enough to do it for a few years. It was under 85 kgs, so I don't cut the mustard for that anymore.
Okay, fair enough. So why is the New Zealand rugby team so successful, and why does it beat Australia all the time?
Well, I think it's sort of part of the country's psyche in lots of ways. And New Zealand's a small country, and we're sort of the things that we're going to be champion at, we to make sure we're very, very good at. There's a handful of sort of pioneering things, and the rugby team sort of was successful from the early 1900s, 1905 originals or something, went through the UK undefeated or lost one game or something, and then that history meant that excellence had to get built on excellence, given this little country was out there proving itself in the world, and they still have the same psyche to this day. It's fascinating. It starts from sort of young age. You get sort of bred into this idea of excellence in the rugby field for sure.
Yeah, and so you're pretty good at it. If you could just give Australia a look in every now and again, that'd be appreciated. The other side of the Tasman, Brendon.
Get their own house in order a little bit. They probably do a little better, to be fair. It's got a little bit less about us, more to do with getting their own selves in shape, I'd say. They do pretty well in a lot of other sports, though.
Yeah, that's true. We'll cover that another time. Now, let's get back to having a chat about the sector. What are the current challenges, perhaps, Brendon, that are facing you and the Keeper business in 2019?
Yeah, okay. I'm very deliberately trying to talk about challenges as opportunities. It's partly of the sort of psyche of what we're trying to sort of, let's say, accommodate or deal with.
Yes.
Like a lot of parts of the world, as I found out yesterday, regulatory change is sort of the main agenda item. We're pushing through a review of what was essentially regulating financial advisors from about 2008 onwards, which has put us into an entity licensing regime which commences around October, November this year. So we're just trying to figure out what distribution models and our future state looks like with regards to that, and obviously dealer groups like ours have been, what our new future will look like in that kind of new environment.
Okay, well that was going to be the next question. What does your business, what does your advice dealer group business look like in future, and what is the future for financial advisors and particularly risk-focused advisors from your own perspective?
Yeah, well, for advisors, I'll focus on initially. I mean, we think very much that like an evolution from, say, traditional risk advising in New Zealand might get sort of a bit more into holistic financial planning. I see the interaction of KiwiSaver, some more sophisticated kind of wealth creation vehicles and how that interacts with risk and general insurance and mortgages as being a potential advice pathway for people. The pressures on things like commissions, may think, introducing fee income could be a good idea for businesses. So how that all interacts and what we've seen in other jurisdictions, different parts of the world, as part of the advice market in New Zealand might mature or morph in that direction.
All right, so it's a formative time in the New Zealand advice sector, and you're sitting with the backdrop of the MDRT logo. I understand this is your first MDRT annual meeting experience. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, I was very, very fortunate to get an invite to come up as sort of part of being an agency manager for a handful of the keeper members that made it up here. I'd always heard fantastic things about it as a high energy, really sort of motivational event, and that's exactly the takeaway I've had so far. It's been phenomenal to see so many advisors in one room that are so passionate about what they do, and gives you a friend of mine who's sitting just over there talks about chicken soup for the soul sort of once a year coming to MDRT. It's exactly what it is, very much so.
Well, that sounds pretty brilliant. Enjoy the rest of your MDRT annual meeting experience. And Brendon Neal, best wishes for the future, and thank you for your time.
Thanks, Peter.